Okay, guys, how you doing? Welcome back. Just adding on to the video series for the DC3 class now that we've started off for the new semester, and realizing that I don't have too many videos on where we got to in class together. So I wanted to just fill in the blanks a little bit and give you guys just a little reminder of what we covered in class on the very first day, okay? So I think in the first class we were talking about we made a circle and we started using the line tool and started kind of connecting some lines together, and we learned about setting sketch relations. Right click on a line, put a horizontal sketch relation on something, and then when you click on that you can see your little green sketch relations kind of hovering all around your sketches. You can see here we've got a coincident, which means touching the 2 points of this circle, the quadrant of the circle, and the end point of this line are touching, and this sketch relation here holds it in place. It looks like SolidWorks added these horizontal sketch relations to the quadrant of the circle and the point on this line, and telling it all that it's horizontal to the origin over here. So we pretty much got that down, but we were able to do some 3D work in class, so I thought I'd just cover that as well. All right. So what we started off with is over here in the Features tab of our toolbar, the Extrude Boss Base tool, which is one of the very first 3D tools in the Features tab. And so with that sketch sort of turned on, we were able to just turn on the Extruded Boss Base tool, and it automatically begins to extrude out from there. So you've got this arrow in the middle that you can just kind of freely drag to set the distance of your extrude. And then you can also go over here to your Boss Extrude, and you can actually mess with the number right here. This is the measurement, and you can just use the keypad on your keyboard to type in anything you want. I mean, we're at 67 right now. We could go 200 and just see the thing jump out like that. We could also set this to something microscopic like 0.125, so 1/8 of a millimeter, the width of a human hair. Okay, and you can set it to something like that, and just you wouldn't even be able to see the edge unless you zoom way in on it here. So this could be like a PC board or something like that, who knows. Anyway, that's the Boss Extrude tool. I think in our class we had been experimenting with the idea of going inside and then getting out of sketches using the exit sketch buttons up here. You can just exit right out of that sketch. You can see that the color of the sketch changes, and also your design tree over here, the sketch jumps up over the timeline. So if you want to take a 3D feature over here like Extrude and apply it to this sketch while you're outside of the sketch, then you have to just kind of see what happens here. The minute you touch that tool, SolidWorks pops up with this little post-it note, this little reminder to say, hey, if you want to use the Extrude Boss Base tool, if you want to create an extrude, you have to either set a plane and draw on that plane using a sketch, that's what this means, or you need to select an existing sketch. So you can just go over here into your design area and just select the sketch that's sitting right there. You can see how it turns orange when I hover over it. But then you can also unfold your design tree in the design area here, and then you'd have access to the sketch in the tree, which seems odd right now when we only have one sketch in our lineup, but once you get into a much more complex model, you're going to have sometimes over 100 different layers to your design tree, and finding an individual sketch is a little bit easier when you're able to just kind of go through the list as opposed to digging through your model, hiding and showing different parts of it to reveal the sketches you're trying to edit. So I'll just click on it here in the design area to practice that, and it's the same procedure as before. Whereas before we were inside the sketch, and so SolidWorks kind of automatically knows, okay, this is an active sketch, you're hitting the 3D tool, so I'm assuming you want that 3D tool to hit that sketch, so it just kind of fires off from there. But when you're outside the sketch and then you activate it using the tool, this is that procedure here. So you can see right away we're starting to understand the concept of parameters and parametric modeling. Immediately look over here and you can see the depth of the extrude, 10 millimeters. So get your 3D or get your calipers out and see what that looks like. Play around with this a little bit, and then you can just approve that sketch or approve that feature from there. All right, so that's just basic extrudes. We also did some extrude cuts. That's kind of fun. Let's just turn on some of our planes here to kind of remind ourselves of our 3D space. and just kind of look at how we're doing here as far as our build, right? We've started off our build on the front plane and we're extruding out from there. If we wanted to say punch a hole through the side of this thing, we could decide to use the right plane here, which obviously is orientated through the middle of this form we've just built. So sometimes showing your planes kind of help you just remind yourself of kind of where you're at and where you want to be. So I'm going to go here to the right plane and I'm just going to right click on it, and I'm going to get my sketch tool and I'm going to start a sketch on that right plane. I can see that it worked because I got a new sketch over in my design tree over here, sketch number 2. I can see it also worked because I've got my exit sketch buttons that have appeared. So from here I'm just going to hit Control 8, which is the hotkey for normal 2. That's the thing that brings you front and center to your sketch plane. So you can see your sketches in perfect 2D perspective. So I'm kind of just going to, I don't know what I'm going to do here. I'm just going to pop a hole through this thing, whatever. All right. If I want, I can go over here to my Smart Dimension tool, click on that, add a Smart Dimension to this. Looks like 36.9927. Okay, let's just make it 40, whatever. Okay. All right, good. Okay, so we'll just leave that like that. I'm just going to exit out of that sketch and just take a look at my work, and here you go. Maybe a good time to kind of experiment with some of the tools up here in our heads-up display. We've got our display style button here, which shows different display types for your 3D form. You've got shaded with edges, shaded without edges, where you turn, if you turn that one on, the black edges go away. And you just got your basic hidden lines removed. I just call that like a opaque wireframe. And then you got hidden lines visible, okay? Gives you dotted lines for the interior. And then you got full on wireframe. So if you're used to other 3D CAD tools like Rhino and Alias and stuff, they're usually all wireframe. So anyway, just doing that to kind of show you that there's our sketch kind of sitting right in the middle. We roll around in 3D, we can see that it's sitting on the right plane just as we intended. So I'll switch back over to shaded with edges, and we'll fire off the extruded cut tool. I'll turn it on there, and get this warning. It says please, pick a sketch if you want to use the tool. I'll just grab the sketch here from the design area, and you can see it's kind of shooting off from the right plane here out through the side of the thing. It's going to cut a big old hole out of there. But I think what I'd rather do actually is set this up so that this extrusion can go through the other side as well. So I want to punch a hole through the entire thing. So if I look over here at the property manager for the cut extrude, see where it says direction 1 right here? All right. If I go down here, I can go to blind. And what this means is that SolidWorks will allow me to extend this extrude cut out for an infinite amount of distance. It's blind to the end point. So, but you can also set it to something here called mid-plane. And with mid-plane selected, okay, the feature, the cut extrude feature, is going to jet out from, it's going to use the sketch that you've created as a midpoint and then jet out in both directions. Okay, so you can see here that it's going in both directions. It's not quite long enough to get all the way out through the model. So I'll just drag this like this, and it works symmetrically. So you can just pull from one side, and both sides will go out and cut a hole through that. And then I can just go up here and I can hit the green check box, or I can hit enter to approve that feature. And there you go, cut a nice hole out of there. Okay. Want to cut a hole out of this side, do the same thing. I'm going to do it quick this time. Right click, create a sketch, normal 2, go over here, grab my circle, line right up with the origin, go like that. I'm going to right click and hit select to deselect the circle tool, as opposed to hitting escape. I'm just going to go into 3D and look at my work, and I'm going to go over here to the features, and I'm going to grab my extruded cut, and I'm just going to quickly set it to mid-plane. There she goes. I'm just going to double check over here that it's following through to the other side, and hit the enter key, prove that, and then we're good like that. So getting a little confused with all my planes shown, so I'm just going to select all 3 of them and hide them. There you go. Starting to feel good about this, so I'm going to call this video like that, and good luck with your 3D tools. Feel free to experiment with some of the other ones that you see here. Just turn them on and see what you get. Some of them are easier to figure out than others, and we'll be covering all of them soon enough. So stay tuned for that. Thanks a lot.